Hello YouTube, it is Good Friday Eve. So we're going to do a little video, and it's not going to be sawing. The weather's turning really bad here for the next few days. We're actually going to get some snow again. So I'm going to do some shop maintenance, and I have this is an SCMI 24-inch planer, and after you plane several thousand feet of lumber, well, guess what happens? The knives get dull. So if anybody wants to see this video about changing planer knives, I will be glad to show you what I know about it. And the first step that I already taken before we get comments, I disconnected the power. Okay, so that's one comment we don't need to hear. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you all the tools needed, my little bit of knowledge on planer knives, and we'll go ahead and get started here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the camera set up in a tripod here and give you my take on how to change planer knives. Okay, let's get started here. First step is to remove the old knife. So using a thin wrench, I believe these are 1/2 inch, but they might be some metric. This is just a little router wrench, and it's nice and thin. You can see there's not much room here to get in here to do anything with it. So instead of the old adage, lefty loosey, righty tighty, I'd written this down on here. You're going to go left-handed to loosen these because you're actually winding the bolt head in to loosen this gib plate. And you just want to just work them slowly, because if you round off one of these heads, you're going to be in a little world of trouble here. And normally I'd work from both sides of the machine, but I got you people watching me from there, so I can't get over there right now. I can plane several thousand feet of lumber with a set of knives. I try to avoid knots. A cabinet shop usually don't run knots through their machines because we cut them out. It's called defecting. So you can run common lumber to build cabinets, and I think sometimes you get the prettier grains out of some of the less desirable pieces of wood. Okay. Just work the knife up out of here. And there we go. And I can see this is 10 of 19 is the last time I changed these knives out. I mean, these, you shouldn't be able to do this. You should be bleeding when you do that. So I'm going to set this aside. I send the knives out to a company to have them sharpened. It don't pay to buy these so-called knife sharpening jigs. They don't work. Maybe for a small little bench top, I don't know. You want these knives to be exactly the same dimension, because you start spinning something around at a couple thousand or 4,000 RPMs. If something's a little bit out of balance, you'll start taking bearings out. But yeah, you want to check your gib plate. And these bolts here, when you wind them in, it shortens up the distance and loosens the knife. When you back them out, that's literally what pinches this tight in there. So that's why you're going opposite when you're removing them. There's 2 springs in my machine that hold the actual knife up high, so that whenever you're setting them, and I'll show you that here in a second. And also, my machine has 4 knives in it, and the cutter head is 4 3/4 inches in diameter, which is a very large diameter cutter head. You're not going to find these in your little residential type machines. This is a commercial machine. This was designed to be run 8 hours a day and plane thousands of feet of lumber. Okay, when you set this plate back in, make sure that it is flush with the edges of your cutter head. That will be very critical, as you will see. If it grabs the edge of that while it's spinning, you will have the 4th of July under this hood. Okay. And just see if, okay, everything's nice and free. Now, I use these magnetic knife setting jigs. Really, with a planer this big, you should almost have 3 of these, but it seems to work out good. I center it over 1 bolt. So what I'll do is I'll stick one side down, I'll center it up with the edge of the slot here. Bring this over and gently push down. It's not going to nick your knife. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Center it over top of the bolt. Get that stuck down. There you go. And you'll see the shiny part is actually where the magnet is. And you'll hear it click. And just visually inspect it. Make sure that they're running nice and parallel. About as my eyes are, a flashlight is really a good tool. I'm going to loosen this one back up and just adjust it slightly, because that'll make it very hard to get to your bolt when you go to tighten it. We'll tweak this one more time. All right, I think we got them both where we want them. Now, when tightening these down, you want to start very slowly. So now we're going to go opposite, where we're acting like we're going to loosen up the bolt. And what we're doing is we're literally expanding it. And you just want to just slowly work them. And all you want to do at the first round is just until there is a very slight resistance. This is where patience comes in handy. If you're in a hurry to change a set of knives, you're going to get bad results. And at this point, we're not trying to tighten them. We're just trying to work them back into the, between the gib plate and the cutter head. And someday I might buy a spiral cutter head for this machine. But these knives have treated me pretty good throughout the years. Okay, now we're getting a little bit of resistance. That's what you want. Now you want to just double check your, make sure nothing's wobbling. They're staying nice and tight. And we're going to come back for a second tightening and just a little bit more pressure. Because the more accurate you set these knives, the more accurate your lumber is going to be. If you set one knife up a little higher than the other, it's going to be doing all the work. This one here is just a little hard to get to. All right, now we're going to go center in each end. And I'm not going crazy tight yet. Now we'll work these ones in between. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and remove. And you want to make sure these aren't rocking at this point, because that would tell you that you're sitting high up in your cutter head. Okay, so now let's go ahead and finish locking these down. Yep. And if you do it like this, just take your time, a little bit at a time. And these have to be pretty tight, but you can't take them so tight that you can't loosen them up again. So you'll know when you get a nice pull on that wrench. All right, last time. Okay, everything's nice and tight. And something else you'll need to know the first time you set your knives, there's a clearance between the tip of that knife and the actual cutter head itself. There's a diagram here. What that shows you is the actual cutting circle, and it shows you the tip of the knife. In my case, it is, I think, 1 millimeter or 4/1000ths of an inch. So there's not much clearance between the tip of this and the actual cutter head. So when you set these knife gauges up for the first time, there's adjustments on here. So this middle bar is adjustable. So once you get these things set, so we'll go to where there is no knife. And basically what you would do is lock that down. The distance between this little middle piece and that cutter head right now is exactly 4/1000ths of an inch. So that's what holds your knife up. That's what I'm saying about the height of it. And what I do is, as I'm coming around, I always put black magic marker, and just that way I know that knife's been serviced. So I got one more knife to change, and then we'll go ahead and make a test run on this. So I'll talk to you here in a couple minutes. Okay, we got the knives switched out, and I just got a little piece of spruce here. And you should never really run these without the hood on it, but I want to show you what this actually looks like when it's planing, and how it whips them chips up off there when you got a good sharp knife. So we'll go ahead and run this piece through real quick, and then we'll go ahead and button the machine back up. Now you'll see some chips fly. And you're looking at a nice, perfect surface here. So it does pay to put your knives, get them sharp. So that is our knife replacement video. So I hope everybody enjoyed this little video. I hope you learned something. Sharp knives are very important. So basically there's a set of 4 knives, and like I said, these are 25 inches long, and these ones are actually made by Delta, but most of them, it says made in West Germany. So it's a very high quality steel. The knives are very expensive, but each time I get them sharpened, it only cost me $66. And this company perfectly grinds them. They perfectly check them as far as weight and everything as far as the width. They're all identical. So when they come back, they weigh exactly the same. It's well worth it. If you try to do it on your own, you could throw your cutter head out of balance and start messing up your bearings and stuff. So, well, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. We got a lot more maintenance we'll do in the shop videos. Bandsaw blade, how to change a blade on a big bandsaw, joiner knives, all kind of things we'll show you. So we'll see you next Saturday with the Eddie Horvath, and have a good Friday. Bye-bye.